two fundamental recommendations were made by the sole inquirer. First is that Mr. Jojo Hagan should be sanctioned. And with that, I've referred the matter to the Honorable Attorney General for his advice. And based on which I'll be able to take the next line of action.
Sanction, what was his crime? What did he do wrong?
Well, what it is that he's supposed to have, according to the report, he's supposed to have litigated over the residual of the lease of the Bulgarian embassies and sought judgment against a third party and presented the judgment to the Lands Commission as though that judgment was between himself and the Bulgarian embassy. Okay, it was the parties in it were himself and the Bulgarian embassy, and that got the Lands Commission to cancel or withdraw the title of the embassy, and therefore the sole inquirer felt that was that is tantamount to fraudulent misrepresentation, and therefore he should be sanctioned. But in matters like this, you have to be advised by the Attorney General. So I've sent a request to the Attorney General for his advice. And then, of course, he says I should use my good offices to seek an amicable solution or resolution to the matter, which I'm taking steps to do. I'm going to meet the ambassador of Bulgaria to Nigeria with concurrent accreditation to Ghana. I'm going to meet the other parties, Mr. Hagan and his people, and hopefully we can mediate to find an amicable solution. But failing which, the sole inquirer himself determined that there are 3 pending cases before the courts. So failing which, I will abide by the outcome of the court cases. I'll wait for the determination of the court cases, and that obviously will be binding on all of us. In the meantime, I've put a moratorium, or I've put a freeze on any development of the property until these processes are exhausted. So this is where we are.
The minority issued a statement signed by your good friend Samuel Kudeta Blakwa, in which he accuses you of a cover-up. He says the president's appointed to the NDPC, Mr. Ampoma, is being shielded in this, although he is a key player in what had happened. And that because he is the president's friend, you are not touching him. And that the people at the Lands Commission, who were also found to have also acted in conjunction with these 2 individuals, also should be sanctioned. What do you say to that there's a cover because a president's friend is allegedly involved?
Well, I think the statement by my friend, Honorable Kudeta Blakwa, who is the ranking member for Foreign Affairs, is, to say the least, most unfortunate and irresponsible, totally irresponsible. I think a gentleman of his standing in the Ghanaian body polity should not degenerate into such baseless accusations. I think it's most unfortunate, and I don't mince words on that at all. I think the politicking and political motivation is leading him into the realm of total absurdity. Now, so having said that, question. The sole inquirer is the person who did this work. He's a former judge. He's an experienced retired judge. What is the suggestion? That I'm going to tell him that shield this person, don't shield that person, do this, don't do that person. Evans, all the people involved in this matter, the first time I heard of their names was when I read the report. I've never heard Jojo Hagan. I've never heard Ampoma. I've never heard the name Ampoma. I've never heard any the chargé d'affaires, the consular general of the Bulgarian embassy. The first time I heard his voice was when he called me yesterday to try and book an appointment for.
But Dr. Yao Ampoma is the president's appointed to.
I don't know him. I don't know the president's appointed to NDPC. I'm just hearing this for the first time. Take it from me, on my honor. I'm just hearing that he's an appointee to NDPC for the first time. I don't know him from Adam. I don't know Hagan from Adam. I don't know the embassy. But I think my friend Ablakwa should try and rise above this. It's becoming ridiculous. Because every now and again, and these flimsy, wild allegations without any basis. What is the basis of the cover-up? That's what you should say. Mr. Ampoma is not being sanctioned. He should have been sanctioned because he did this, that, and that. He did A, B, C,
But his
D.
name was mentioned in the report, wasn't it?
Look, I have the report here. I mean, I can go through it with you. I think my recollection of Ampoma's role in this whole thing is the fact that he's a beneficiary of the will of Mr. Leighton also. I'm not sure. I have to check the report again. It's a 149-page report. I think that is his involvement. In fact, when we finish this interview, I'll look at it closely. That he's a beneficiary of Mr. Leighton's will But Mr. Hagan is being asked to be sanctioned because Mr. Hagan is the executor of the will. And if you understand the law of will, you will realize that the person who takes the legal steps to grant benefit, some benefit to the beneficiaries is the executor. Mr. Ampoma is a beneficiary. He is a beneficiary. He doesn't get involved in the processes of giving effect to the will. But that said, look, I have interaction with Honorable Ablakwa, and I've told him, look, if you have anything more than we all know, let us know. This vague propagandist, political, empty statements you issue is a big cover-up of what is that? So it's all grammar.
There's a quote that he proposed to lift from the report about the involvement of Ms. Edu Ampoma, in which he said, quote, that since it said in the report, quote, since the registration of the assignment of Dr. Edu Ampoma is found, as indicated in the sole and correct report, to have been improperly obtained, the ministry has further directed the Lands Commission to take the necessary steps to withdraw consent granted to the said assignment and registration of the interest of Dr. Edu Ampoma.
But how does Mr. Ampoma become culpable in that? If I assign interest in land to you, if I, Bulgarian Embassy land, if I assign the interest to you, Evans Mensah, and even assuming that I assign it to you for valuable consideration, and it turned out that my title, which I'm assigning to you, or my interest, which I'm assigning to you, was fraudulently or wrongly procured, how do you become culpable? You, the assignee, how do you become culpable? I'm the assigner. I have a bar of gold, and I give the bar of gold to you. It turned out that the bar of gold, I improperly acquired it, or I improperly procured it. How do you, the man who receives the gold, become culpable?
Is he the beneficiary of an illegal act?
Well, that's another matter altogether in criminal law. But I'm saying, but even that, if you can plead innocence, it's a good defense. Even that, if you can plead innocence and it is established that you are totally innocent of the fraudulent transaction which you become a beneficiary of.
But have we established that he's innocent?
But I'm saying, just even on the face of it, it tells you how whacked the interpretation is. My friend, and that's why I'm saying, I mean, except if it is for politics. If it's just for politics, then it's fine. For him to accuse me of a cover-up is the most, for me, it's very outrageous. Because I'm telling you on my honor, between you and this matter, I don't know anything about it. I don't know the people involved. In many events, I didn't conduct the investigations. Is he suggesting that Justice Oforiatta can be manipulated to cover up Justice Oforiatta? You should check out the standing of Justice Oforiatta very well, and his pedigree. When I inaugurated him, after we finished, I pulled him on the side and said to him again, even though I have absolute confidence in his integrity, I said, my Lord, I'm pleading with you that I need this matter totally above board with the full facts. And he said, of course, you don't have to say it. And that is the right response I expected from him, because I know you to be a man of enormous integrity. So the Okuchetos of this world, they want power, He's very obsessed about winning elections and becoming a minister and all of that. So anything goes. You will go on and on and on and on. You will never stop.
There's a question about why the sole inquirer never spoke directly to the Bulgarian ambassador himself. Has he explained why that didn't happen?
I will find out. I have to find out. It may be a logistical issue, I'm sure. I'll find out. But they have a consular general here. Did he speak to the consular general?
Yes, he spoke to the consular.
But if he spoke to the consular general, why must he speak to the Bulgarian ambassador?
But ambassador, from what I understand, requested to be heard directly.
Evans, hold on. Do the Bulgarian embassy have a consular general here?
They do.
Did the sole inquirer speak to the Bulgarian, the consular general?
From what I understand, he did.
And you obviously understand the privity of relationship between an ambassador who has concurrent accreditation to a country and the consular general. The consular general is more like is the representative of the ambassador in situ, in the country. That is a fact. So if the sole inquirer is speaking to the consular general, what is it that the ambassador wanted to tell the sole inquirer that he couldn't have his consular general informed?
Well, the interest of getting to the heart of the matter and the truth, if the ambassador said, I want to be heard.
How did he say that? We have to check that out as well.
Mr. Okudzeto suggests that he did.
Please, I'm not too sure Okudzeto is credible enough. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure he's credible enough. I think he's done too many things in his public life which has discredited him a lot. including this matter, where he's just on a frolic of his own and just politicking all his way through. This is, with the greatest of respect, in all humility, this is serious governance issues. This is serious governance issues which has implications on the diplomatic community of our country, Ghana's standing in the international community. He doesn't seem to be patriotic enough to care about Ghana's flag, where it is risen to. You do politics with any and everything, concoct matters up, just so that Ghana's image is lowered, so that the elections will become easier for them. That is not what motivates me as a young politician. I'm looking at the common good. I'm looking at the public good.
I know he's your
and
friend.
all that, of course, is my very friend.
And he suggest to you that you're imputing motives to him that are simply unfair.
They are not unfair. They are correct. They are not unfair. I think it's just politicking. They are not unfair at all. I'll say that to his face. If he was here, that's what I'll tell him. They are not unfair. I think it's just politicking. I think it's just engaged in petty politics for just political point without a basis. If he has any firm, solid grounds and he puts it on the table, we will look at it. And from the very get-go, he knows that I've kept him informed every step of the way, just as I've done with the foreign minister. It is because I respect the contours of governance. He's a ranking member for foreign affairs and he's entitled to some level of briefing. I've kept him informed and I've given him all a million times assurance that this will be above board, and this matter has been dealt with above board. It's been transparent. It's beyond reproach. We are dealing with it dispassionately. In any event, the report that has been done, look at the report and the steps I've taken. The steps I've taken very much injures the private developer. The private developer is taking a big hit. His project is being stalled. He's put up a 3 or 5 story building as we speak. I've said that no more development on that property. No more development on that property. You know what implications it will have for him in terms of his business? But excuse me to say, I couldn't be bothered. I'm just doing what is right. I've put a hold on the development of the property. That's number 1. Number 2, I've asked that the title which was the assignment which was registered in favor of Mr. Mpoma, that title, the consent the Lands Commission gave, should be withdrawn. I've said so. So what Mr. Mpoma had with the Lands Commission, I've withdrawn it. I've taken it out. He doesn't have it. Not a single punitive measure is being meted out against the Bulgarian embassy. Not a single punitive measure. Because we don't have to, based on the facts, based on the information. And also, the background to this matter is all been laid out clearly. And in the end, justice and fairness will be done. And it is being done. So to make this outlandish and totally ridiculous claim of a cover-up is totally dishonorable.
In the meantime, for the Bulgarian representatives in Ghana.
And that's the Lands and Natural Resources Minister there, Samuel Abu Jinapo. Well, yesterday there was a meeting between the Bulgarian ambassador to Nigeria with accreditation to Ghana, Yanko Yedanov, and the sector minister on how to resolve this amicably, even on the back of that SO Inquirer's report. And the outcome of that is that a 3 member committee has now been put in place, has now been set up. That will be chaired by the Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Benito Owusubio. And their mandate is to find an amicable solution to this and to avert a full-blown diplomatic crisis as far as this is concerned. Of course, as you know, the Bulgarians are very unhappy about what has happened, and the inquiry, I guess, affirms the position that they were unfairly treated, and so this matter has to be dealt with. Now, Mr. Yedanov had himself expressed his desire that this matter is dealt with quite quickly, and was very clear in expressing his thanks to Parliament and to institutions of Ghana for the work that has been done in the investigations that we've seen so far. However, we're also learning here at Joy News that the EU ambassador's residence here in Ghana, there's a meeting that has been called tomorrow to discuss this matter even further. And we'll keep tabs on that and quite understand what that will mean for the relations that we've had with the Bulgarians that has lasted for what, almost 6 decades now. I'll be speaking shortly with, as you've heard there, Samuel Kudeta Blakwa, who raised the issues first and had been very consistent in raising the issues. And you've heard the minister raise some serious objections about what he had said before. We'll speak to him pretty shortly on this. Mr. Blakwa, thank you for your time here on Top Story.
Yeah, good evening, Evans.
The sector minister challenges you to back the claim of a cover-up with evidence. He claims that without that, you don't have the basis to make the claims you've made. What do you say to that?
Let me say good evening to you and to all distinguished listeners. Anybody listening to the Lands and Natural Resources Minister will get a very clear impression that this is a minister who is intoxicated with power, totally unhinged, almost deranged, and on a frolic of his own. If you listen to the minister, it's as though I, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, I demolished the Bulgarian embassy. Listen to the minister. He's so angry at me. He pours venom on me, uses unprintable language on me. And then when it comes to the demolishers, he's giving them free legal advice as to how they can plead innocence, what they should plead, and all of that. Can you believe that? A minister of state, a cabinet minister of a country that is in flagrant violation of the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, 1961, which imposes an obligation on a receiving state to offer protection to diplomatic premises. You are in such utter breach. You should be embarrassed. Look, in our entire 65-year history as a country, this has never happened, where embassies and high commissions are demolished. This is the second one. The first one happened to the Nigerian High Commission, and you know it almost brought us to the brink of conflict. The Nigerian Senate held a special session and urged their government to retaliate. Our president had to step in, reach out to his brother Buhari, and as we speak, the Ghanaian taxpayer has had to cough up 5.2 million Ghana cedis to replace that demolished property. And guess what? Nobody has been arrested. This Bulgarian embassy demolition, even until I went public with the demolition, until I broke this story on the 15th of March, government was not treating this matter seriously. The Bulgarians met the Foreign Affairs Committee, two sides of the committee, MPP, NDC, you can call colleagues on the committee, and express their frustration. 5 years on, since the demolition of this Bulgarian embassy, nobody has been arrested. And yet the minister thinks that he should spend public time and pour venom, vituperation on a ranking member who is only doing his job. As we speak, nobody has been apprehended. Nobody is being prosecuted for this criminal conduct, which has brought us despicable embarrassment.
He says the matter has referred to the AG for action on the individual who was recommended for sanctions.
How ridiculous, Evans. How ridiculous. 5 years on, you are writing letters. You don't know what to do to somebody who has gone to demolish an embassy. 5 years on. See how Bakavomawo is being treated. See how Jachi Kwesi is being treated. See how the Honorable Atu Forson is being treated. Is that how they treat their political opponents? Evans, you think if it was me or you who demolished an embassy 5 years ago, it would take the ranking member to raise this matter on the 15th of March 2022 before government embarrassingly and reluctantly sets up a commission of inquiry on the 18th of March? You know, Evans, that even on the 17th of March, after I had raised this matter, and the Lands Commission, which is complicit in this whole affair, as the sole inquirer confirmed, went to put up a stop work notice. You recall that Dr. Yaedua Poma and his assassins went to rip it off. Your Parker was there. He reported live from the scene. We went there as members of the Foreign Affairs Committee to inspect what was going on. The impunity. He ripped it off. And the deputy minister, you recall, the Honorable Benito had to return to the place with police protection and the deputy foreign minister, and they became virtually, land guards protecting the property from Dr. Yaedua Mpoma, the president's appointee at NDPC, who remains at post. And you tell me that this is not a cover-up. If it's not a cover-up, why is the lands minister refusing to publish the full report, the full 149-page report? He reached out to me saying, as ranking member, I can request for the report. I told him that it's not about me. Look, the Bulgarians are requesting, the Bulgarian Foreign Ministry has written a statement to us saying they want a copy of this report. All of us are interested in on this report. That is best practice.
Yeah,
if you are being transparent, you are being accountable, you have nothing to hide, you publish the report. Look, in the United Kingdom now, all of them are anticipating the Sugray report. Sugray has gone public, assured the British people that she will publish her report in full. And that even involves the Prime Minister.
Yeah, yesterday.
Who is supposed to have broken COVID rules.
Yeah,
Prime Minister, the number one gentleman.
Yesterday,
the report is going to be published in the next few days.
Yeah, yesterday, Mr. Yadanov himself met the minister, and in the statement that was jointly released, was released and signed by the ministry, they quote him as saying that assuring the minister that the people affected in the Bulgarian embassy demolishing, and to the extent that the Bulgaria understand that the government of Ghana had no involvement in the demolition exercise and therefore should be rest assured that the situation will not mar the 60 years of relations between the two countries. This is the Mr. Yudanov himself appearing satisfied with the work that government had done, getting a judge to look into it, setting up a 3-member committee to look into it. And of course, the individuals involved are now being stopped from any progression until the Attorney General acts. That's the man himself.
I have held meetings with the Ambassador Yordanov. Indeed, he called on me yesterday, together with the Consular General, and we had extensive discussions on this matter. The discussions pointed clearly to a demand for the report. They are saying that they want a full copy of the report.
But he met the minister yesterday, Mr. Kujotoblako. He didn't make this
request. He told the minister that. Remember that the Bulgarian Foreign Ministry has put out a statement demanding a copy of the report. Now, in this meeting, I have also commended the Bulgarians. Look, the way the Bulgarians have handled this matter, very few countries will handle this matter this way. And we need to really salute the Bulgarians for the kind of, maturity and camaraderie, the spirit of solidarity, respecting the ancestral friendship that both countries have enjoyed over decades. That has to be put on record. We didn't get this kind of reception when the Nigerian High Commission was demolished. But it is important not to, as it were, take their patience, their maturity for granted. It is absolutely necessary that even for our image in the community of nations, you've just reported that EU ambassadors are meeting on this matter tomorrow. And this is a matter when you meet diplomats in diplomatic circles, it is of considerable concern and anxiety to them because it's happened twice. There are other incidents of, encroachment, which we will talk about later. So this is not a matter that you treat lightly. The international community is watching. Why is it that 5 years on after this demolition, nobody has been arrested? If you read the minister's own statement, page 6 of the minister's own statement, the minister says the sole inquirer established as a matter of fact that the cancellation of the Bulgarian embassy's interest did not follow due process. Those are not my words. Did not follow due process. Since the registration of the assignment of Dr. Yao Eduampoma is found, as indicated in the sole inquiry's report, to have been improperly obtained, the ministry has further directed that the Lands Commission to take the necessary steps to withdraw consent granted to the said assignment and the registration of the interest of Dr. Yao Eduampoma pending the outcome of the court cases. So you are obtaining land title inappropriately, fraudulently. That's what it is. How is it that it's only one scapegoat, Jojo Hager, who is elusive, is not been arrested? Attorney General, Minister of Lands are writing letters. Can you imagine? Former war, Jachi Kwesi, Atu Fortin, all the other people who have been shot in this country will be very, pleased to enjoy letter writing between ministers.
Mr. Blackwell, I know Parliament resumes next week. Is this something you intend to raise officially with Parliament through the appropriate official channels?
Absolutely. We have served notice that we are not going to accept this whitewash. We will not accept this concealment. The government must publish this report in full. We will demand a copy of the 149-page report for further study. If indeed they are not shielding anybody, they are not covering anybody up, we insist. It's our right. This is a democracy. This is not an autocracy. It's not a dictatorship, for Christ's sake. This country does not belong to Abu Jinapur. This is a democratic state, and the right thing must be done. We will insist that the right thing is done.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's Samuel Kuduta-Blakwa, who is the ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee in Parliament. Newsnight starts in a minute.
Sweetheart, give me proper breakfast. Later, give me lunch. And for dinner, make it a buffet.
My one and only. You know what? Just let me receive the alert. And I will sort you out. Sharp! You just add the charges, Keke.
For here, never pay for transfer charges. Vodafone Cash still has no transfer charges from Vodafone Cash to all networks. You don't have Vodafone Cash? What the cash? Yes! You don't have to pay more on Vodafone Cash. Switch now to the correct network and save. Only e-levy applies. Dial *110# to send money now. Vodafone.
Hello there. At GCB Bank, we aim to provide reliable, world-class insurance policies with our Gcb Bank Assurance, underwritten by Star Life Assurance, your solid partner for life. With the GCB Wealth Master Plan, guarantee the achievement of your future dreams. The GCB Child Education Plan assures you of quality education for your children. Under the GCB Ultimate Protection Plan, receive a minimum of 100,000 Ghana cedis as replacement income if you suffer critical illness, permanent disability, or death. The GCB Home Call Plan enables you to show love with a befitting burial for your loved ones. Visit any GCB Bank branch today and ask for a bank assurance product to begin your journey to securing your future. GCB Bank Assurance. Relax. We have you sorted.
Hey, my phone is broken.
We've all been here before. The moment when your heart literally stops beating and you see your entire social life and savings flash before your eyes. Yep, your phone just fell and you are frozen in fear, awaiting the post-mortem reports to find out just how badly your phone is damaged. But now, you no longer have to panic when your phone experiences liquid or accidental damage thanks to MTN Device Insurance.
Just install the MTN Device Insurance app, fill in the details and make payments, and experience the peace of mind that comes with knowing your device is insured as you continue to enjoy the most amazing 4G Plus experience only on Ghana's fastest network. Visit mtndeviceinsurance.com or download the MTN Device Insurance app on Google Play or App Store and get your phone insured today with device insurance powered by MTN.
MTN.
Tonight on Newsnight, former legal consultant to the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry, Kwame Jan, dismisses claims that the state was under no legal obligation to give lands to the Owu family, insisting the current minister has done no wrong.
A process that has traveled through former President Kufuor's government, former President Mills's government, former President Mahame's government, and currently President Akufo-Addo's government. And I wouldn't have a reason to doubt the integrity and the propriety of the decisions that have been made.
Details tonight from a tour of the forest reserve as government secures funding to plant more trees in there.
We are in the process of reforesting the Achimota forest. We've been planting trees in the Achimota forest. Money has been voted for the reforestation of the Achimota forest. Hopefully, in the not too distant future, turn the Achimota forest into a forest enclave in the likes of Hyde Park in London, Central Park in New York.
Plus, we hear from the Owu family, which says it has suffered grave injustice. Also tonight.
No, let them cover it. Okay. Government cannot waste resources on such useless work. Which engineer supervises it? Tell me. Engineer, what is he? Is he in the system? Invite him to report to me in the office on Monday.
Tonight, Roads Minister's outrage after rain washed away a recently constructed bridge in Ashanti region as he goes after highways official who supervised the construction. We hear from the Member of Parliament for the area who first alerted the minister, and sugarcane farmers and residents of Commander angry over government's decision to import raw sugar and refine it at the Commander Sugar Factory.
Farmers who are ready to do. We hear Sika that you do, we have been as a potty in all the Bay Jumano. I woman at us raw material from different countries now.
And in business, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison Hens, digital currency, the ECD, should be introduced after trial phase.
In sports, Ashanti Gold speak for the first time after the match-fixing verdict by the Ghana Football Association. We'll bring you much more details later.
And then much later on the Joy Clean Ghana campaign.
Food where everything is hung here. You can imagine the degree of contamination they are putting on the food before it comes to the market. The last time we've been to this particular meat shop, I can tell you that it still remains the same. We are going to close this place.
Meat vendors at the Kaneshi market giving a week ultimatum to clean their market square or risk being evacuated. And on the National Science and Maths Quiz, the 7-year absence of Kumasi Wesley girls from the national competition ended by a golden generation of second-year students who have declared winning the trophy as their only mission.
Only girls that are winning. We are not allowing the boys to come. No. We are going to be the first girls' school to get to the finals, and we are going to take the trophy.
This year, women empowerment, we are going to win the trophy. That's the final.
We have that and more in tonight's edition of Newsnight. Do well to join us. It's via WhatsApp 055-1111997. You can also watch live on Facebook.
And my name is Evans Mensah.
I am MFR Paul.
And tonight, the former legal consultant to the Lands and Forestry Ministry, a lawyer Kwame Jan, has revealed that the Memorandum of Understanding signed in 2008 was to give some 193 acres of that Achimota forest land to the Owu family and not 92 acres. In fact, this has become a major point of controversy as we now begin to discover that several contradicting acreage awarded to the family over the years. His claims come after concerns were raised about the acreage that they released to the Owu family recently. Those in the minority in Parliament and some civil society organizations have argued that the Owu family is entitled only to 90 to about 100 acres of land instead of the 361 acres being mentioned by the lands minister. In fact, yesterday, we got another document from the former Lands and Natural Resources Minister, Inusa Fuseni, that also detailed a release of 118 acres. So we have at least 4 different figures when it comes to the acreage since the Kufuor era to now. We'll break all down for you shortly. But speaking on our front with Raymond Aqua, Lawyer Jan says the original agreement entitles the family to more acreage of land.
The MOU that was signed between the Ministry of Lands then, which is still the Ministry of Lands now, because the government, yes, the people who manage the affairs of state will go, but state institutions stay. The memorandum at that time, yes, you would say that it's an MOU and may not have all the totality of binding force.
Certainly.
But the agreement at that time was 193 acres in 2008.
Not 92.
193 acres. This agreement is in the public domain. It's available I even have copies. It's available in the records of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. It was signed between the minister and witnessed and the OUs and their people. So it was signed. 193 acres. But at that time, the plan was that the totality of the forest would be degazetted and would all the rest of Achimota Forest would cease to be a forest reserve. This was the plan. If you read the MOU, that's what was clearly stated, that the remaining portion of the land would become a complementary CBD for Accra.
Oh, I see.
So there was no idea of retaining any reserve at all in the under the program of 2008.
Well, he has also dismissed the argument from Occupy Ghana and other civil society groupings that the state was under no legal obligation to give lands to the Owu family.
Yes, the Supreme Court in the case of Ni Probitete Churu against the Attorney General and Lands Commission. This is the Lawaile's case. Yes. Yeah. The Supreme Court said that this was a claim brought by the last two. And the Supreme Court said that Article 25 and 6 would not apply in retrospective effect. However, there have been lands which the state took, and the state has, as a matter of political decisions. There is also the question of the vested lands. And there was a case in the Supreme Court that I was part of when I was the lawyer in the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. This is the Nino Omabo and 3 others against Lands Commission and the Attorney General. This is the Osumanchelea case, in which the court said, yes, the lands which were vested before the coming into force of the 1992 Constitution will remain vested. They will not be divested by judicial decisions, but they can be divested by political decisions. The fact that Article 25 and 6 will not apply retroactively does not take it away from the Republic of Ghana to release government lands when they have to.
Well, the former legal consultant to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources then argues that there was nothing wrong with what the current minister, Samuel Abu Jinapor, has done with the entire deal.
I wouldn't have a reason to have that kind of, I won't say perception, I won't even say conviction, I would say perception. I wouldn't have a reason. Because if you look at how long this process has traveled, this process, I have been familiar with this process in 2006.
Okay.
When the first petition came. So a process that has traveled through former President Kufuor's government, former President Mills's government, former President Mahame's government, and currently President Akufo-Addo's government. This process has traveled through the life of 4 presidents. And I wouldn't have a reason to doubt the integrity and the propriety of the decisions that have been made. I wouldn't have a reason.
Even the amount of land that's been allocated to the family.
That always has been a subject of discussion. Like I told you, it was 193 before. And I know that in another period, there were discussions about increasing the size or something.
But was there justification in increasing the size? What were the considerations?
To be honest, I would believe that the Forestry Commission has given a justification. Okay. Because, mind you, they are the advisors of the Republic of Ghana on this matter. The minister doesn't take decisions unless the technical agencies under him have given him good advice. You know, if you look at the Ministry of Lands, how it is set up, there's the Lands Commission, there's the Minerals Commission, there's the Forestry Commission, there's the Geological Survey Authority, and so on. These are the technical agencies that advise the minister on such matters. And I believe the minister would not make any decisions when he doesn't have sound technical and professional input. I wouldn't think that that's the way the minister operates. I know the minister. Okay. I'm privileged to say that. I thought he was my student in Legon, and I know what type of person he is.
So that's the former consultant to the the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, lawyer Kwame Jende, speaking on Upfront with Raymond Akwa yesterday.
And in the wake of this controversy, we've secured a number of documents on this piece of land in controversy. And the central issue that runs through is the contradictions in how much acreage exactly the Owu family was granted, all through from the Kufuor administration to Mills to John Mahama and currently. Now, you remember that the first statement that was issued referenced from the Ministry of Lands, referenced 90 acres that was supposed to have been given to the Owu family in 2007 under the Kufuor administration. Now, that 90 acres was then confirmed by the minority's own statement, right? So if you go back, so that was the first time we saw 90 acres that as purported to have been given to the Owu family. Then we now have another document, an agreement signed between the Owu family and the government, dated 24th of November 2008. And this is specifically between the government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Minister for Lands, Forestry and Mines, and Ni Owu Royal Family of Accra. And in this document, it actually states some very interesting facts about why they were giving the land to them. And I just want to read the relevant portion. It says, following consultations between the presidency and the appropriate public sector institutions, it was recommended that in response to the referenced petitions, the choked nature of the current Accra Central Business District and the reconstruction of the Tetekwashi-Mala motorway, a portion of the land forming part of the 1927 acquisition described by paragraph 3 and above should be redeveloped as a complementary business district to facilitate the decongestion of the Accra Central Business District, and appropriate benefit be determined and accordingly extended to the Owu family, while the same time preserving the Achimota forest. So that was the original purpose.
That was the original plan.
And that under that plan, they were given 193.2 acres. 193.2 acres were given to them.
2007 it was 90 acres.
90.
From what we're told. Now 2008
November.
we're learning.
It became 193.
193.
Now come to the two acres now we've established. Mm-hmm. Then you come to a minority statement signed by Haruna Idrisu. They also then insist that the John Mahama administration only implemented the 90-acre recommendation. Okay. So that's
the 90 acre was earlier than the 193.
Exactly. See, but they didn't reference it. Now the document showed also another 193. But the minority statement said they implemented the 90. So it was a 90 they claimed that they then awarded and released to the Owu family. Now, very interestingly, yesterday, another document again emerged, this time signed and executed by Inusa Fuseni, who was in 2013, in 2013, under the Jomamba administration, was the sector minister then, and he shared this with us. Now, that also talks about a different amount
What's
of
the
acreage.
acreage there?
Okay. In this one, it talks about 118 acres.
118.
118. Now, the interesting thing about this also is that the reasons for releasing the land is different from the November 2008 reason, which was Central Business District.
What's the reason this time?
I just want to read to you, just for the avoidance of doubt. It says, and whereas the government, after considering the sub-leaser's petition, noted that the state having properly acquired the said piece of land, still have use for it, but on compassionate grounds. And yesterday, indeed, he made that point, but he then now backs this with the evidence.
Okay.
So the John Mahama administration under Inusa Fuseni granted 118 acres, not 90, as the minority statement had said, right? And they did it under compassionate grounds. And this is a document that backs this, it's signed and stamped.
But
right?
not for business district purposes.
Not for Central Business
As was prepared for or planned for in 2008.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now we come to this current controversy, and we are talking about 361 acres. So if you track it, we start from 90 acres, then come to 193.
Then it came to 90.
It came to 90 again.
We had 118.
118.
Now we are at 361.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is a lot of contradicting numbers
but
there.
We're hearing from Kwame Jan that also says is what 193 originally, which backs the document that you've just read to us. But the original plan was for business district. But this time, what is the original plan for this 361? For which reason we are releasing it to the Owu family?
Well, I mean, so they're entitled to it. For yesterday, the minister explained that they were leased to them and they were implementing this Afaridata committee report. That's his position on this. So yes, there's a lot in this that have traveled over the years with a lot of contradicting acreage.
Well, we'll take a quick tour to the forest reserve itself because there have been talk about whether it will continue to stay as a forest reserve, knowing that in 2008 there was a plan for it to become a business district of a sort because of the choke nature of the current business district. That has not happened, but this time we are unsure. We're told that it will remain a forest reserve. My colleague Samuel Kojo-Brace has been there, but before then you've also been interacting with the minister, the sector minister. He tells you that we've secured funds as a country to plant more trees in the reserve.
Achimota Forest will remain intact. As a matter of fact, we are in the process of reforesting the Achimota Forest. We've been planting trees in the Achimota Forest. Money has been voted for the reforestation of the Achimota Forest. And we intend to even do more in, hopefully, in the not too distant future, turn the Achimota Forest into a forest enclave in the likes of Hyde Park in London, Central Park in New York. So on the contrary, we are seeking to preserve the Achimota Forest. And both instruments, the EI 144 and EI 155, were all promulgated solely and specifically with provisions to protect the Achimota Forest. So yes, so this year's June, Green Ghana Day on June 10th. Please, all of us, we have to come on board.
Because June 10th is just...
And I'm going to I'll do my planting in Achimota Forest, you know. This time around, if I'm even going to see if I can lobby the president to do his planting in Achimota Forest.
So that's the Lands and Natural Resources Minister speaking on PM Express there. Kojo Brace, you have been, I think this is the second time this week that you've been to the forest reserve. Would you say is really a reserve? What did you see?
Well, the land is there, the vast land is there, but for you to describe it as a forest, because there are no trees, there are not much trees in there for you to say, okay, there's a forest where in winter you see a lot of trees. You cannot, but you have to go with the classification that they've given it, that it's a forest reserve, but there are not much trees that we saw, really. So the minister, the deputy minister himself described it as shrubs. I mean,
So you went with the deputy minister?
Yes, Benito.
And the reason for going there was?
To expose journalists and the cameras for us to know that the forest has not been tampered with. So look, I saw lion for the first time in my life. I saw crocodiles. I saw python. I saw a lot of animals are in there. I never knew. You know, people were of the view that maybe the animals have, we will let them go. The zoo is no longer there. But I saw it. The forest itself is still the way it is. There will not be much of modification to it. It is now that the government is planting some trees. So I saw.
So you saw that they are planting
I
trees
saw
there?
lanes of some trees that they are planting. Even mahogany, I think there's now that they've planted some. So like the deputy minister explained that even this year in June, they are going to plant more trees in the forest. So the real sense of a forest, you won't have it. You would find more shrubs and where you have prayer camps also.
Our famous Achimota forest is intact. We have also brought in the animals from the Accra Zoo previously when it used to be at the Jubilee House grounds. We brought them here so that they also form part of the biodiversity and the ecosystem over here. As we brought them here, some of them, they are being bred and they are giving birth. The environment is cool, it's good for them. So please, we want Ghanaians to understand that the Achimota forest has not been sold and is intact, and we are even making more efforts to make sure that it becomes the forest that we know. Currently, if you look at the terrain, you realize most of the plants here are shrubs. But then there's a need for us to make sure that we reforest it for it to look as a typical forest. That effort is ongoing. So with all such developments, why would we want to sell the Achimota forest? Please, Achimota forest has not been sold, it's not for sale, and it will not be sold.
Well, so amongst others, also they've been explaining, or the deputy minister explained to the team which areas actually forms part of the land or the acreage that is going to be given back to the old family.
Yes.
Give us a sense
if
of
you're
what
on
you
the
get.
N1 heading towards to Achimota, you know, when you take the Achimota junction and you try to come, just when you negotiate the runabout into Achimota, just before you go into into Achimota, just try to come back to Abofu. From the junction to Abofu, you know, there's a land, there's an area. It has some trees in there. That area stretches all the way to the police station in Achimota, the forest area, and then it comes to the forestry office in the Achimota. That area is where they showed us to be part of it. They didn't say it's all. They said, oh, this is part of the land we are giving. So there are questions of, okay, where are the remaining ones that you're doing? So we've given you part. Go and find out the rest. I mean, that is where they are with, but he explained.
But what we are saying is that we have not declassified this entire forest.
So
that's
what I'm saying. That this is the N1 road highway. This is the police station road. And then if you should drive a little bit where we go to, the Greater Accra regional offices are there. So this one has been just left a bit separate from the main. This one, you don't go to the place where close to Abofu where you have those caterpillars.
Well, so that's your tour. But poor direction, by the way.
You have to pardon me.
Tardy boy. Well, thank you for that direction there, giving us details of the tour of the Achimota forest. We'll be hearing from civil society shortly, but I know you also know that the Owu family have been speaking about this whole brouhaha about the land that has been given to them, and they've been talking about how they've restrained themselves from participating in the ongoing debate as a result of good advice and judgment. However, reluctantly, they say they wish to set a few records straight as follows: that the pre-acquisition owners of all the land acquired in 1921 and 1927 for the Achimota School have suffered grave historical injustice, and the family have had to, in the past, accept or acquiesce to terms to enable it to move on, which it strongly believes have been unfair and unjust. That statement concludes by saying that the acreage due the Owu family was arrived at through a long-standing negotiation in which many respects predates the current administration. This was done with the active involvement of various state technical negotiators and agencies. So he has about 7 members there penning this particular statement. It looks like it's the most popular family now in Ghana.
As you know, the environmental rights advocates and civil society organizations are now wading into this controversy. They've collected collectively come together to issue a statement as part of a coalition. We can speak to Obed Owusu-Adai. He is with EcoCare Ghana and joins us on the telephone line right now. You want the government to rescind the EI that de-gazetted as a forest reserve. Today, the Deputy Sector Minister took journalists there to actually show them that the government is actually planting more trees and not bulldozing those already there. Well, what do you say to that?
Thank you very much, Evans. There are a couple of issues to unpack from all the conversations we've been having. So maybe before I even come to the point, the question you asked, just to settle this, the minister says that the 1921 acquisition was compensated with £4,000, but the 1927 was not compensated. Honorable Inisa Hussaini came to your studios and did indicate that as far as he is concerned and the records available to him when he was at the ministry, all compensations that were due the old family were paid. Today, the old family has issued a statement and they are saying that both the 1921 and the 1927 acquisitions were not compensated. So whom should we believe? We are not going to go into that. For us as environmental NGOs, our interest is in the environmental well-being of the forest. And to come back to your question, the reason why we are saying that the government or the president should rescind the decision to de-gazette the Atomota forest is that, one, it is setting a very, very bad precedent. Let me give you a scenario.
And the bad precedent is what? That other forests may also go the same way.
Exactly.
But I asked the question specifically today. Your concern is that the forest is going to be degraded. The evidence on the ground from our reporter is that it is the government is showing, and then the ground the evidence is there. They're now planting more trees instead there, and they've actually now announced they've secured money to do even more on the 10th of June. As an environmentalist yourself, do you still stand by the decision that this has been destroyed?
Yes. So, what percentage of the current Achimota forest is going to be planted? When you have 10 and you take 2 out and you plant 8, if you had not taken the 2 out, you would have gotten more than the 8 that you planted. So that is what is happening. The argument that the deputy minister is making that they are now going to plant more trees in the remaining areas of the forest after they have de-gazetted a portion to the old family. It's neither here nor there.
So I get your position that don't touch it at all. Leave it, plant more trees for the entire area and don't give part away.
Exactly our point.
Obed Owusu-Adai is EcoCare Ghana with the part of a coalition of NGOs in the environment that came together to issue a statement.
Well, you're still listening to Newsnight here on Joy 99.7 FM. We'll go for business shortly, but let me take you to the Ashanti region, because tonight the Roads Minister, Kwesi Amoakwata, has been left outraged after he discovered while on a tour of the Ashanti region that a recently constructed bridge has been washed away by the rains. The Nsuotem Bridge in the Efija Kwabre North District was built just before the rains this year, but caved in following a recent downpour. Mr. Amoakwata did not hide his anger. Another time, you know, this is not the first time he's publicly expressed his outrage when he visited the site.
And which engineer supervised this kind of dirty work? Which engineer? No, I'm not surprised of what has happened here. It was under whose supervision? No, let them cover it. Okay. Government cannot waste resources on such useless work. Which engineer supervises? Which engineer?
That time it was the regional manager.
Which engineer supervises? Tell me.
Mr. Dodo. Engineer Dodo.
What is he? Is he in the system?
He's in a
half.
So he's in a half now. Yes.
Invite him to report to me on Monday. Okay? invite him to report to me in the office on Monday. If you are a supervising engineer, and you compromise this. No, look at it's a running stream. You compromise the hydraulic capacity of this road. And it was not for nothing that this place used to have a Bailey Bridge. Okay? So even if you wanted to replace the Bailey Bridge, it should have been a concrete, or boss covered, yes, or similar capacity. I assure you that government is going to treat this, as an emergency, case. And the place will be reinstated as quickly as practical.
Well, that's the Minister for Roads, Kwesi Amoakwata there. Well, MP for Ifija Kwabre North, Collins Adumako, who reported the incident to the road minister, says NADMO has closed down the road and residents are now compelled to find longer alternative routes in and out of the constituency.
When the minister arrived, and let me say thank you to the minister also for a very swift response to my request. Immediately I called him and indicated to him that we have a bridge that had been caved in. He quickly arranged, and within 2 days he had visited the constituency or the district to have the first-hand view of the situation. During his interactions, he did instruct the regional director of feeder roads, who accompanied him on this trip, to summon the engineer on the project. We are told the engineer is currently working in Sunyani, and the minister has summoned him to come to his office in Accra on Monday at 10 a.m. He mentioned his name as Adom or so. I can get the full details for you, but what we are clear about is that the minister had instructed that the engineer who supervised the project should meet him in his office on Monday.
So how about the road network now? How are commuters able to handle the activities to and fro the area?
Well, fortunately, this particular road is not one of the major roads in the constituency. The main road in the constituency is the one that links from Ahimko all the way to Chitrebe. And in fact, this particular road came into being because at the time the main road was being constructed, there was an aspect of the road that the bridge had to be put on. So while the bridge was being constructed, what it meant was that people could not commute between the two towns from Ahimko to Chitrebe. So quickly we had to construct a new road, this particular road as we look at it now, that will link the community to Kumasi through Offenso. So the point is that although this particular bridge has caved in, it has not cut off people from going to Kumasi. The main road from linking the Kumasi to the main district is still available. And I can tell you that it's in very, very good shape. Indeed, when the minister came, he did indicate to us that government had decided to upgrade that particular road to an asphalted road. And so commuters or the indigents are not cut off from Kumasi. It's just that it's a convenient road because you can use that particular road to Offenso just within 10 minutes. What it means is that instead of going through that road, which has now caved in, you have to use the main road. That will take you about 25 minutes.
And in the meantime, what measures are being put in place, at least to ensure safety?
So currently, the NADMO officials, in collaboration with the district, have mounted a closure of that particular road because when we got there, some of the engineers did indicate that even where the places that have not caved in, it was not safe for people to even walk on. So in the meantime, that particular section of the road has been closed down.
And that's the MP for the area. Do you live in that area? Want to share your thoughts with us? We'll read them and share with the rest of the world. 055-111-1997 after business. George is here. Hello, George.
Hi, Evans. And coming up in business, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Ernest Addison Hens digital currency ECD will be introduced immediately after trial phase based on success of process so far. And IMF expresses concerns over government decision not to sign up for a fund program, but Africa Director insists they respect Ghana's decision. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all your office essentials. And Allianz Live.
TV. Wanna watch football on new series. HD plastic code are there for me. I see I'm clear, crystal clear, quality pictures you can't compare. Feely, 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 how you see I'm feely, feely, feely.
HD Plus gives you control to search, pause, reverse, and record your favorite shows. Now, when you download the My HD Plus app on your mobile and link it to your HD Plus decoder, you get free data to watch TV on the go every month. Visit any multi-TV dealer or Electroland outlet to purchase an HD Plus decoder and stay in control of your TV viewing. HD Plus, enjoy feely feely.
Get ready for the Hits FM Rap Your Jersey 2022. Yes, swag up on your favorite UEFA jersey and let's meet up for a day of fun at the Aviation Social Center, Saturday 28 May 2022. Exactly. A day of fun, a day filled with lots of activities and climaxing it with the UEFA Champions League in a grand style. Hashtag Rap Your Jersey and follow us on social media. Hits FM Rap Your Jersey is brought to you by your entertainment station Hits 103.9 FM and supported by Joy Sports and Joy Prime TV. Hits FM Rep Your Jersey is sponsored by Powerhouse Uterine Spray, Franco Trading Enterprise, Great Odds, Heineken, NASCO, Blue Crest University College, Open Labs Ghana, Cafe Barbera, Peugeot from Silver Star, Dubai Energy Drink, Yomi Yogurt, Airtel Tigo, Hoptel, DSTV, and GoTV.
Can you just sit back and not engage when the finest panel sits on Saturdays?
He is trying to be relevant in a space that he's mistaken for fallow grounds for people who are not very bright.
I have heard a lot of filmmakers say they also didn't know about it.
It's the most authoritative entertainment talk show south of the Sahara, and no one serves it hotter than we do. It's Showbiz A to Z.
I'm talking about keeping people. I have a philosophy myself that I don't trust but I love.
From the most exciting profile interviews to the hottest panel discussions.
Oh, the last time we saw a new one. They are creating their own content on Facebook because no platform is accommodating them.
DJ Black's top 10 countdown to the most concise but detailed review of entertainment topics in showbiz this week with Noella. Fresh talent, no sweat. We shall unveil them all on Showbiz A to Z. Saturdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Joy 99.7 FM, on Joy Prime TV and online at myjoyonline.com. Live on Facebook and updates on Twitter and Instagram. Proudly brought to you by MTN and High Five Chocomo. You can catch up with Showbiz A to Z and all our shows via podcast. Just log on to myjoyonline.com/podcast and search for your favorite show and relive those moments all over again. Showbiz A to Z, powered by Joy Entertainment. We're large and in charge.
Shalom, my dear friend. I am Pastor Tuakwa. There is no better way to start your day than in the presence of God. I invite you to join me on your favorite devotion program, Joy Time in His Presence, every Tuesday and Wednesday from 4 a.m. to 5:45 a.m. on Joy 99.7 FM, and on Saturdays from 3 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. I urge you to join me on Prayer Line as we connect on the superior altar of God in a time of prayer and supplication. I am also your host on A Walk with Jesus, the most authoritative Christian program on radio, specially designed to guide and direct your walk with Jesus into victory and fulfillment. Catch you every Sunday from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Joy 99.7 FM and on podcast at myjoyonline.com/podcast. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners. Shalom.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, has indicated that the digital currency, the ECD, should be formally introduced after the ongoing trial phase. The Governor of the Bank of Ghana in September last year introduced the currency, but on a pilot basis. We understand that this would take about a year for the current process to be completed, but speaking to the Bloomberg News, the Governor noted that this is based on how the ongoing trial phase has been described as successful.
The ECD, we're making fairly good progress on that. As you know, Ghana already has a culture of mobile money, which has helped a great deal with financial inclusion. So the average person on the street knows how to use their telephone to transfer digital value. And we are taking advantage of that background to develop a retail token-based type of instrument, which we call the central bank digital currency. There has been a pilot in different parts of the country. Sign that by the end of the pilot, we would be able to proceed as planned.
What do you see the benefits for the economy if there's widespread adoption of digital currency?
I think further financial inclusion. We are looking at, a system which can operate offline in the most remotest parts of the country. But we are also looking at a card-based form of instruments that can also be used by those probably in the more urban areas better. Fortunately for us also, we have the country adopted an ID strategy. I'm sure you're aware of the national identification schemes, which in a sense has helped improve identification in our economy, and therefore the issues of KYC and other dangers that can come with these instruments are in a sense minimized.
Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, speaking to the Bloomberg News. Now, economist Courage Mate has indicated that he disagrees with the Bank of Ghana governor that inflation has peaked at a rate of 23.6% for the month of April 2022. The governor of the Bank of Ghana, in an interview with the Bloomberg News, noted that inflation rate should start slowing down after hitting the record 23.6%. Mr. Martin noted that the recent developments are yet to factor or impact the month of inflation.
I would like to err on the side of caution to think that the peak is yet to come. Because if you look at the April inflation that we have, it did not account for the e-levy that began implementation in May. It also did not account for the transport fares that were increased in the middle of May. And there are calls by the utility service providers to also hike tariffs aggressively. That's still under consideration. But if that sees the light of day, that all these cost push factors could also become inflationary, and you want to wonder whether we have already peaked. And to err on the side of caution, I would rather think that the peak is yet to come. I believe firmly in the monetary squeeze and monetary tightening measures implemented by the central bank, but I think that on the cost pressures that we are seeing, it appears the peak is yet to come, and we could be rather peaking somewhere in the third quarter of this year, probably the late third quarter of this year.
Courage Mate is an economist. Now, the IMF has expressed concerns over government decision not to sign up for a fund program. Now, Joy Business is learning that this came up during the recent spring meetings in Washington, D.C., USA. But responding to a question posed by Joy Business during a virtual engagement with the African Department Director, Bibi Selassie, in Washington, D.C., the Africa boss noted that the fund respects Ghana's decision.
So on Ghana, I mean, of course, it's up to the government, to decide this, and we are of course okay with that.
And that's the African Department Director at the IMF, Bibi Selassie. The Institute of Internal Auditors, that is Ghana, has challenged internal auditors to move away from the provision of assurance services to fraud risk assessment to ensure organizations are protected from losses and violations. Chairman of the Research and Publication Committee, that is Ebenezer Kojo Owari Miracle, believes that this is very critical in the sustainability of businesses. We're speaking as part of the 2022 Internal Auditors Awareness Month ongoing.
As internal audit evolve, let us position ourselves so that we rather see it as collaborative effort, but not identification of fault or errors. We rather see as future focused because we are able to scan the environment, both local and globally, and draw management's attention to what can go wrong and how they need to position themselves.
Ebenezer Kwejo Marimireko is the chairman of the Research and Publication Committee of the Institute of Internal Auditors, Ghana. Now, global foreign currency supply, that is Travelex, has indicated its preparedness to supply currency to the country when needed by the Bank of Ghana and commercial banks. Now, there are fears that recent global restrictions and security concerns may affect the country in getting its needed forex. But speaking to Joy Business, head of wholesale at business, that is Travelex, Angela Smith said there's no cause for alarm for Ghana.
Plan for Ghana is to support the banks with their needs. We can work with them in various ways, but for me, it's supporting them and working with them and finding solutions to their problems.
In terms of FX supply, I mean, how easy or difficult is it to meet the requirement of the Bank of Ghana and other players?
It's not difficult at all. We've got multiple suppliers that we work with globally, so having access to foreign currency is not an issue. So when we supply to Ghana, it's mint notes straight from the Federal Reserve. So there's no issue with counterfeit notes because they're coming from the central bank.
Head of wholesale business, Travelex, Angela Smith. And even if you are a businessman, entrepreneur in these times, fuel prices are going up, utility tariffs are likely to go up, inflation is going up. How do you survive and manage to stay in business and not shut down? And also in your attempt to pass on that cost to consumers, how do you ensure that you don't lose out to competitors? And that is what we'll be looking at on PM Express Business Edition as we engage the president of AGI, Dr. Humphrey Dake, also the CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry, that is Magbedu Abuaji, and financial consultant Charles Mensah, surviving in these times.
We've been talking about cost of living crisis. Yes. We've been doing a living standard series, and we almost always target ordinary folks and how this is affecting them. Yeah. But we haven't looked at how the cost of living is affecting businesses. So this is a very timely conversation because I have a friend who runs, very popular, famous business, Quick Clothing and Quick Shito, and the business has collapsed. Yeah. Sorry, you know my friend.
It's really under.
You know my friend.
The conditions.
You know my friend.
Yes, I know your friend.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So what has happened to the business?
It's still on, but suffering. So it's a program that I would want to listen to.
So MF at 9 p.m. on Joy News.
So when dry bones are mentioned, the old ladies get uncomfortable.
God knows whether they will rise or they will still be in that dry bones position. So at 9 p.m. on Joy News and also on all our social media platforms, we'll be engaging these actors on how to manage and survive as a business so that you don't go down like my friend's business that is in administration
quick
right now.
Yes,
or
we should file from bankruptcy, so I can find some money for them. Okay, thank you very much, George. So make a date. It's 9 p.m. Just 2 hours from now. George and his team will be on the television.
We'll do some of your messages now. And upon all the gold, diamond, manganese, bauxite, and crude oil in Ghana, we are now destroying our forest reserve. Which kind of leadership is this? Promising Keta is sending that. And then this one says, when are we going to see the end of this land issue? Kingsford Sepenu Nyatape has been talking about that. Nana Sphinx Road sends us two separate messages. It says the government of the day must pull down the development on the Bulgarian embassy grounds and give back the land to them. Some of us in this country are too greedy, he says, and also touches on another issue. Says if the old family were compensated, please, the government shouldn't release any part of the Achimota forest to them. This will open floodgates. If we aren't careful, we could even wake up to the Ebri Gardens being given back to its original owners. Lincoln in Akwitiman says, Mr. Jinapo, is that what? Okay, should know that diplomacy is the way to go and not arrogance posture, he says. And some of your messages that you've sent in this evening, many thanks for sending them in. Oreku Ampofo has sports for us this evening.
Well, MFA, we're still on the match fixing issue. What we do know is that Inter-Allies have asked the GFA's appeal committee to reverse the verdict of the Ghana Football Association's disciplinary committee to demote the club to Division 2 following their involvement in the match fixing scandal. Today, Ash Gold has spoken for the first time since the verdict, and this is what they had to say in a club statement.
Earlier this week, the Ghana Football Association announced that it has found the Obuasi club guilty of match manipulation allegations for the game against Inter-Allies FC in the second round of the league campaign last season. Reacting to that decision in an official club statement, Ashanti Gold FC says the decision by the Ghana FA Disciplinary Committee is against the weight of evidence and whatever transpired during the hearing. According to the club, it has reviewed the decision by the committee and has filed a notice of appeal against the decision to the GFA Appeals Committee. Quote, the club will exhaust all legal avenues available to secure justice. We ask all playing body, technical team, our cherished supporters, and other stakeholders of the club to remain calm and resolute during these times. Unquote. Meanwhile, the club also says it has requested for the record of appeal of the disciplinary committee hearing and will, upon receipt of same, file additional grounds of appeal.
Well, that was Ash Gold speaking in a club statement there. And so it looks like this case would be dragging quite long. What we do also know is that the game between Ash Gold and Asante Kotoko didn't come on the Ghana Premier League match supposed to be played today due to security reasons. And Kotoko have also sent a statement to the Ghana Football Association saying that they want their fare and cost of travel reimbursed, and also no game should be played in the Ghana Premier League till they play with Asante Gold. So it looks like a pretty dramatic time in the Ghana football scene at the moment.
Thank you, Oredu. And in fact, Oreku, I want to get into this a bit more on Ghana Connect. So, Oreku, you have to join me when that happens. Get into this. Do you bet though? Do you bet? Are you a betting man?
No.
You don't bet at all?
No.
Oh, yeah, I know friends in the newsroom who do this.
The way Ghana has had, I don't think you want to risk losing your money.
Oh my guys, I've seen guys who do 50 CDs and they get thousands.
They only share the good news, Evans.
They don't tell you how much they've lost. Okay, well, that's an interesting point. Yeah, but we'll talk about this on Ghana Connect. I want to join us for that. Now, government has begun painting and fixing broken equipment. We know at the sugarcane factory that has become a center of a lot of controversy. Now, sugarcane farmers, nonetheless, and residents of the Commander are angry about government's resolve to import raw sugar and refine it at the Commander Sugar Factory. Now, according to the residents and the farmers, the lack of support and engagement with sugarcane farmers in order for them to grow the raw material to feed the factory is worrying. As we know that there are efforts now on the way to try and revamp the factory and get it functioning some way. The Commander Sugar Factory was established as an import substitution, and the farmers say import the raw sugar to refine it will cost more, and more importantly, defeat the purpose of establishing the factory. First, let's listen to concerns of some of the farmers who spoke to us.
The sugarcane plantation is not lucrative enough, so we are unable to cultivate on large scale. The government is supposed to provide funds to the farmers so they can expand their farms to feed the factory with raw materials, but they always come around to tell us stories. I don't believe they can do the job. Where are the raw materials they are going to use for the factory? Farmers have prepared their lands. They need money in order to cultivate, but they are not getting. Only for us to hear that they are going to import the raw materials to feed the factory.
Let's now listen to a board member of the factory and MC for KEA, Solomon Eboapea.
The simple answer to the raw material is that at the moment we've kind of engaged the local farmers around to give us the sugar that growers. They've given us substantial amount of sugar to on 20th, perhaps we could start the test run of the production of the sugar 20th of this month. So what it does mean is that it is not enough. So as we said, we've procured large tracts of land from Winneba and Enclave, such Obuasi. We have 22,000 1,500 acres of land and the Shama Enclave and Commander for the cultivation of sugar. So just after we are engaging the local farmers who are supplying us the sugar cane, which is not even enough for commercial production. We are importing raw sugar from abroad. The raw sugar means that it is not in consumable state. What does that mean? That we have to refine it. So we are bringing sugar which is in Kumsa 500 or 300, which is not even consumable because it is contaminated. So we will bring those raw materials to the factory and we will refine it up to the in Kumsa, the 140, 45 and so on, which all of us can consume. So what we are doing it concurrently. The little that we are having and that of them. So the presumption is that after 1 or 2 or 3 years, what that means is at that time we planted the sugar cane, everything is ready, and we stop importing, and we'll be relying solely on the raw material from our local.
So that's the explanation there, an answer to the concerns the farmers had raised by Solomon Ebuapia, who is the MC for KEEA.
And we head to the OT region for the regional NSMQ contest, and the post-contest jubilation of St. Mary's boys Lolobi had no limits after they qualified for the championship. The overjoyed students carried the assistant headmaster shoulder high while singing and dancing on campus of Maoli School, the venue for the quiz. Maswala Kwegba was there for us.
In the Greater Accra region, it's Presec Legon. Yeah, but in the Volta region, it's St. Mary's boys, Lolobi. And they say what? The color is blue. Last year, they made it to the 1-8 stage, but they were kicked out by their counterparts who are also in the blue uniform, Presec Legon, at the 1-8 stage. Let's speak to the assistant headmaster.
Thank you very much. My name is William Kofi Nukpofa, aka Blaza, the lover boy.
I like that.
If I should have another word to be used to replace excitement, I would have used it. I am so excited. I don't know how to describe how excited I am. In fact, overjoyed.
Tell me, what does it mean? What does the National Science and Maths Quiz mean to you?
So important. I must tell those who have been leading that this time they should forget. St. Mary is coming, and it's coming for everything. We are ever ready to beat whoever is what, the champion. They should prepare for us.
The confidence of the assistant headmaster of St. Mary's is rubbing off of these students. They are equally confident. Let me tell you that. Things are getting better for you, huh?
Please, yes. Okay. Things are getting better.
Tell me, what should we expect in the national championship?
Oh, see, we are taking it this year. For this year, we are taking
it. Ending tonight's edition of News Night. In fact, for this entire week, we have Ghana Connect tomorrow evening, right here on Jory 99.7 FM. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I am MFR Powell.
And my name is Evans Mensah.